Okay, for my second assignment, I am doing my No Child Left Behind Act. It's a massive lot of information, and I've had to condense it as much as I can to get it under 5 minutes. No Child Left Behind Act 2001 was a US act of Congress that authorized the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. The act required states to develop assessments in basic skills to receive federal school funding. States had to give assessments to all students at all grade levels, select grade levels. Each state developed its own standards, expanded the federal role in public education through further emphasis of annual testing, annual academic progress, report cards and teacher qualifications. Provisions of the Act. Administering testing for all students. No Child Left Behind requires all public schools receiving federal funding to administer a statewide standardized test annually to all students. Students that receive Title I funding must make adequate yearly progress. If the school's results are repeatedly poor, then steps are taken to improve the score. Military recruitment access. The Act also requires schools to let military recruiters have access, contact information and other access to the student. 5-year grading system. If the school results are repeatedly poor, then steps are taken to improve the score. Schools that miss for a second year are publicly labelled as in need of improvement and must develop a 2-year program. Missing for a third consecutive year forces the school to offer free tutoring and other supplementary education services. A fourth consecutive year corrective action is required. Could mean involve wholesale replacement of staff, introduction of new curriculum. A fifth year of failure results in planning to restructure the entire school, can lead to the whole school being shut down. Effects on the teachers, schools and school districts. Increased accountability. Supporters of the Act claim one of the strong positive points of the bill is the increased accountability that's required of schools and teachers. These yearly standardized tests are the main means of determining whether schools live up to the required standards. If required improvements are not made, the school faces decreased funding and other punishments that contribute to increased accountability. Opponents of the law say that the punishments only hurt the schools and do not contribute to the improvement of the education. School choice gives options to students enrolled in schools failing to meet the standards in the Act. If a school fails to meet targets 2 or more years running, the school must offer eligible children the chance to transfer to high-performing local schools, receive free tutoring and attend other school programs. Effects on student assessment. Before and after the positive impact. The accountability systems were placed before indicate that outcomes accountability led to faster growth in the achievement for the states that introduced such systems. The direct analysis of state test scores before and after enactment also supports its positive impact. A primary criticism. Effective instruction in student learning by causing states to lower achievement goals and motivate teachers to teach the test. A primary supportive claim asserts that systematic testing provides data that shed light on which schools don't teach basic skills effectively, so that interventions can be made to improve outcomes for all students. Effects on schools and students. Pressures schools to guarantee that nearly all students meet the minimum skill levels in reading, writing and arithmetic, but require nothing beyond these minimums. It provides no incentives to improve student achievement beyond the bare minimum. Unrealistic goals. According to the No Child Left Behind Act, every child is supposed to test on grade level in reading and math. This can't happen. There are too many variables. Not a fair system. Gaming the system. The system of incentives and penalties sets up a strong motivation for schools, districts and states to manipulate test results. Effects on racial and ethnic minority. Seeks to narrow the class and racial achievement gap in the United States by creating common expectations for all. Requires schools and districts to focus their attention on the academic achievement of traditionally underserved groups of children, such as low-income, students with disabilities, and students of major racial and ethnic subgroups. Proposals for reform. The statement's central message is that the law's emphasis needs to shift from applying sanctions to failing to raise test scores to holding states and localities accountable for making systematic changes to improve the student achievement. Commission's goals. Have effective teachers for all students, effective principals for all communities. Move beyond status quo to effective score improvement and student options. Have high standards for every student in every state. Drive progress through reliable, accurate data. Encourage parental involvement and empowerment. Waivers. In 2012, President Obama granted waivers for the Act requires to several states. In exchange for the flexibility, these states have agreed to raise standards, improve teacher effectiveness. Replacement. On 30th of April 2015, bills introduced into Congress, the Every Student Succeeds Act, which was passed by the House. Before being signed into law, President Obama, the bill affords states more flexibility in regards to setting their own respective standards for measuring scores as well as student performance. My issues with all of this: teaching to pass exams, not teaching the whole broad subject, just teaching to do better in those one, make yourself look better. Punishing schools for taking their funds. How is a school ever going to get better if the school has lost the funding when they require more books, better teachers? Better teachers. How do you get better teachers if there's no money? Reducing standards, making everybody, dumbing it down, dumbing the system down. Mediocrity seeks its own level. Make it easy to pass the test so everybody does well. And then finally, the worst, cheating. Making sure that tests are graded non-accurately, making sure that everybody succeeds, just so that they receive their funding. Anyway, that's a very, very brief synopsis of No Child Left Behind Act and how I feel about how it's run in schools.